Hey there, everyone. I am kind of doing a spur of the moment live stream. It is 1 a.m. in the morning, Saturday, but I figure it's a great way to start off the weekend. And because it is really late at night, I figure I'm going to try to stay on topic this time. I know I did an earlier live stream, but I gotta do kind of make sure that I can kind of keep my topics a little more on par with what I say the title is. And like I mentioned in some of my previous videos, if you don't want to sit through it, well, I will be having other live streams, whether it's gaming, blogging, and so forth. But this one's going to be tailored to creating pivot tables and charts and kind of just giving some ways of how you can gain insights from whatever data you might be analyzing. So I'm going to go ahead and first things first is I want to save this file. I'm going to call it Saturday, what's today's date? Saturday, April 8 live stream. That way it's here for my records. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and see, go to my channel. So that way I don't have to look, I can see who's coming in. Okay. Alright, so far I've got, looks like I've got 2 viewers. Okay, so don't have anyone in the chat yet. So of course the first thing you want to do whenever you are working with data is you always want to have a backup. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and call this my workbook because this is actually going to be what I'm going to be using. So I'm going to come over here to my first sheet over here and I'm going to hit Control A, which is going to select everything within this table here. Come over here to my workbook and hit I forgot, I gotta hit copy. There we go, copy. Now come over here and hit paste. Alright. Okay, cool. So that way if I mess up and doing whatever data cleaning or whatever I may be doing, if I mess this up, well, at least I've got my original data set to fall back onto. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and expand these columns to make them a little easier to read. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to combine the first and last name. So I'm going to create a new column here. And so I'm going to go ahead and insert. And so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to call that full name. All right. And so I'm going to come down here into this first cell. And anytime you're typing in a formula, it's going to always begin with the equal sign. So remember that. Always begin with the equal sign and then type in whatever you're trying to do. So in this case, I'm going to hit C and you'll have a list of choices here. And I'm going to go with the first one, concat. And all you got to do is just hit the tab and there you have it. So now it's going to give you some guiding text down here. So concat text 1. In this case, I'm going to select A2. That's going to be my text 1 value here. And then you got to put in a comma and then text 2. So we want to have a space in between our first and last name. So I'm going to go ahead and put double quotes space because adding a space is actually considered a character. Put in another comma here. And see, skip. Okay, there we go. So let's see, where was I? And then the last name here, that's going to be text 3. So come over here, text 3. Close the parentheses and Control Enter. So now what I'm going to do is you see this small little square here. Well, if I hover over it, you'll see how it kind of turns into like this sharp looking cross. And I'm going to go ahead and hit, I could just simply drag that down, but rather I'm just going to double click on it and it's going to automatically fill it in for us. So I'm going to go ahead and expand that. So we got our full name here. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and put another space in here, but I'm not going to insert anything here. And the reason for that is anytime you are creating a pivot table, you got to have an empty column to your left or to your right, unless of course it's up against the side here. That's fine, but because now I've got these 2 columns here, so like if I were to type in something over here, it's not going to work. So you got to have an empty column immediately to your left, unless of course it's up against the side here, and to your right, above and below. So meaning like I can't type something down. I can't like type a value down here or a name or whatever it may be, because otherwise it's not going to work. Now because this is up here at the very top, that's going to work. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is whenever you're working with data, you want to make sure that you are checking for data type consistencies, making sure you're catching any errors, extra spaces, and so forth. So the first thing I'm going to do over here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on data. And I'm going to check and see I don't have it, make sure I don't have any. Oh, and see, looks like we have an Ames and a James. So that's supposed to be James. So that's why you want to make sure that you always spend time cleaning your data, looking at your data. So I'm going to go ahead and unselect everything. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to check that. I'm going to hit OK. And so yeah, I got to fix that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit James, and it should automatically fix. Yeah, it should automatically fix it. So now I can go ahead and clear the filter. And so now, let's see, making sure, so we got, so once again, just to double check. So I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, I should have 6 salespeople. Do I have any gender? Yep. Data sales amount. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to create a table here. So I'm just going to click on any cell in here, insert, and I'm going to add a table and hit OK. And so now we got our table here. I'm going to go ahead and format it to green. You can pick whatever color you want. Actually, let's do it and do yellow. I'm in the mood for doing some yellow right now. And what's cool is you'll have these drop-down arrows, so you can do like your filtering, your sorting. So like maybe you want to figure out what our largest sale was. 46,500 was our largest sale. Hey there, Alex Montgomery. What's up? What is up? I am doing, yes, I finally got a chat going on in here. I am doing an early Saturday morning Excel pivot table and charts, I would say semi-tutorial. I figure it's early Saturday morning. I have a big interview on Monday. Well, it's a phone screening with the recruiter, so I've got to get through that. But I'm sure they're going to be asking me about my experience using Excel and so forth, because that's one of the big things that's listed as a requirements is intermediate to advanced Excel functions like pivot tables, creating charts, formulas, and so forth. Yeah, so it's like a data entry specialist, but it's a little more detailed than that. I think there is going to be there is a little bit of some analysis component to it as well. So it's kind of like, so you've got like full-on data entry, which is like typing data, but then you have like kind of like a gradual progression. So it's definitely, I would say, a step above just like your regular data entry job. So that's kind of why I'm kind of doing this, practicing with Excel. And this, I figured, why not? I'll make it into a live stream. Now, I had done a live stream earlier this evening, but it was kind of like making fun of online dating. And it's like, may not want to do that, because I do want to be careful of, I mean, how do I say this? Like, I don't want to do anything that could potentially be offensive, if that makes any sense. So I figured it was potentially, it's hard to say, but anything, whenever I get that gut feeling, it's like, maybe I should probably take the video down. So it's fun to make fun of online dating, but yeah, I mean, the way I was doing it probably may have come across as like maybe inappropriate. So I just decided, I better take it down, for peace of mind. So I'm kind of redoing a live stream that I had done earlier. And so yeah, without getting too off, too much into a random tangent, we're going to come back here. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit Control Z. What that does is that just undoes any of your changes. Okay, so now I think we are ready. Okay, so let's come up with a use case scenario. Okay, so maybe we want to figure out who our top salesperson for the first trimester is. That is the months of January, February, March, and April. And we want to figure out who our top salesperson is, and we can give them an award, because after all, being a salesman is pretty challenging in today's society. I mean, I have to admit, I could not imagine the challenges it must be working in sales. So if you have a top salesperson in your department, yeah, it probably is a good idea to give them a little bit of a reward. So we got to figure that out. Who is our top selling salesman for the first trimester? So in order to do that, a pivot table is probably our best bet. So I'm going to go ahead and come over here. I'm going to rename this sheet to pivot table 1. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on a cell here, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this 2 different ways. The first way is actually just kind of coming up here and showing you the pivot table, and then hit from table range. And so now I've got to come to my workbook here. I can click on any cell. It doesn't matter what cell I click on. I can click on this one. I can click on this one. I'm just going to click down here and then hit Control A. That selects the rest of the table. And I'm going to put existing worksheet because I have already selected my cell in pivot table 1. If I hit a new worksheet, it's going to automatically create another worksheet, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and there we go. Pivot table number 1. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the date of sale, and I am going to drag it down here. And so we have January, February, March, and April. And I don't really need a date of sale. I just want the month. So let's go ahead and remove date of sale. And now we're going to go ahead and drag full name, but I want to drag it so that it's above the months. There we go. Cool. And then we're going to take our sales amount, and we're going to drag it down here. And what's cool about this is you can actually whether you want to do like a summation, you can do like the average sales, max, min, but we're going to keep it as sum. So I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel on that. And so we can check this out. So it looks like Ava Martinez had 600,000. So let's go ahead and change this. Let's go ahead and number format it. Currency, 0 decimal places, hit OK. So Ava had 627,400, 606, 533, and 653. So it looks like our top salesperson for the first trimester is William Brown. So yep, he is going to get a big award for being such an awesome salesman. All right, so cool. All right. So not too many people in the chatting section, but that's okay because I'm going to go ahead and continue on here. So I want to remove the grand total. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus sign. And this is going to be, let's go ahead and do, let's see, monthly sales chart. Okay, so come back to my pivot table here. I'm going to come and just click on any cell in here. Click on the insert, and let's just do a bar chart. And go ahead and do a bar chart here. Looks a little cluttered, but I'm going to go ahead and copy it, put it over here, paste, expand it. There we go, expand it. And of course, so now this is where we can, come up with a title for it. So let's just go ahead and do monthly sales total, and then go ahead and you can format the title how you want to. Let's see, we want to make it, maybe you want to make it green. Let's see, we can make it green, we can bold it, we can increase the font size to 18, we can move it up, we can move the title up here somewhere. Okay, now let's see, come over here, hit the plus sign. Well, I don't really want a legend. Let's get rid of the grid lines. So we got rid of the grid lines. Let's go ahead and change our color here. So we can go ahead and hit, I like to do it, we can do it this way. And we can actually kind of format our chart how we want. Maybe, I kind of like, let's see, like that background. Let's see, it's kind of personal preference. kind of like that background. So let's go ahead and hit that. Let's go ahead and switch our color. Let's make it green. Once again, we kind of have to fix this again. So let's go ahead and that, make that bold. All right, cool. So that's our first chart. Once again, I don't want the grid line, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete the grid line. Oops, I don't want the grid lines. Yeah, grid lines just kind of make it, I feel that grid lines make the charts look overly cluttered. We can go ahead and remove this. We're going to go ahead and hide the value field button, hide all field buttons on charts. Okay, so this is kind of gives a graphical representation for each of our sales people for January, February, and March. And what's really cool is we can actually make this a little more granular by adding in what's called a slicer. Yes. So maybe we want to look at like who had the most sales for the month of January, who had the most sales for the month of February, and so forth. So we're going to go ahead and insert a slicer, and we are going to do by months. I'm going to hit OK. We're going to come up over here. Follies. What am I doing playing around with Excel? Well, I'm just like in the mood to play around with Excel because I have a phone screening with a recruiter for a job that actually does involve using intermediate to advanced Excel. So, yep, what better way to kick off the weekend by playing around with Excel? Yes. Okay. Just pull that down a little further. Okay, so let's see, who had the most sales for the month of January? Oh, wow, look at that. Looks like James Smith. Come down to February. February, William Brown. March, let's see, March. Ooh, almost looks like a photo finish or dead heat for Ava and William. And then for April, ooh, yeah, it looks like these two people are neck and neck. Ooh. And then what's cool is you can actually, let's see, we can come back over here to it and then insert slicer. And now we can go ahead and do another one for gender. Come over here, put that down over here. And we can actually look at like our gender category. Yeah, so now we're looking at gender, so Ethan, James. So now we're only looking at male versus female. Pretty interesting. So that's what I really love about slicers. Let's go ahead and select all our months. Let's go ahead and remove the filter, select all our months. And so, yeah, so we look at our female salespeople. Okay, and then we look at male. Interesting. So slicers are a good way to kind of get more granular analysis, more granular insights from your data. So that's chart number 1. All right. Interesting. Follies. I use Excel every day in my job. You're doing things way more advanced than I do. I've never used pivot tables or charts before. Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people I talk to, like, it seems like they use Excel on a daily basis. It's like, it's interesting, but yeah, I would have thought that pivot tables and charts were used quite more frequently, but I guess it depends on your role. I mean, I guess it really does. I'm going to go ahead and remove this filter. Okay, so we got our first chart out of the way. I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, I guess I could I could increase the font size of that. I could make it black, and then I can come down here. I mean, there's all sorts of different things you can do with your charts, but let's move on. Let's go ahead and create another pivot. I'm going to go ahead and create another pivot table. This is going to be pivot table number 2. And I'm going to put this over. I'm going to organize it. There we go. That's better. So once again, I'm in my pivot table 2 sheet. I'm going to go ahead and click on a cell right there. I'm going to come back to my workbook. Once again, I'm going to click on any cell in here. This time, I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut, which is much quicker. Alt-N, and you'll notice all these things that pop up here. So I pressed N, And then the next one is V. That's going to give us our pivot table. N, V, and then table from range, NVT. And there you have it. And then existing worksheet, hit OK. Destination is not valid, so I need to come, so that's what I need to do. I need to click on this cell right there. So once again, I'm going to hit Alt NVT, and I'm going to come to my workbook here, click on any cell, Control A, and then existing worksheet, because if I click on new worksheet, it's going to create another sheet, which I don't want. So hit OK, and now we have our pivot table. So now we want to look at our sales trends. We want to see, let's say this is our business, and we want to see if our sales are going up, or they're going down, and then we want to compare our sales trends from each of our salespeople, and maybe look at gender as well. Okay, so this is going to be a simpler pivot table. So once again, I'm just going to click on the date of sale, put that down in my rows, and don't really care about that. So I'm going to go ahead and remove date of sale and sales amount, put that down here in the values. And so now I want to change format number into currency, 0 decimal places. Okay, cool. Get rid of my grand total here. Oh yeah, and so I'm gonna get rid of this grand total here. So, oh yeah, let's see, what am I? Yeah, I want to remove the grand total. Okay, cool. So now once again, I'm gonna come over here, insert, and a line chart is probably best at depicting trends, sales trends. So I'm gonna go ahead and click that. I want this line chart here. There we go. Copy. Actually, before I do that, I gotta create a new chart here. Let's go ahead and put that over here. Okay, let's go ahead and name it first. I'm gonna put sales trends. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I got that. I hit copy, come into our sales trends, paste. All right. Let's expand this a little bit. So once again, we can kind of format. See, how do we want to do this? Go ahead. This is kind of where it becomes personal preference. Interesting. I kind of like that one, but let's see. Decisions. Why not? Let's go with that. Okay. And color. I want to have it be green. Okay, so I want to fix this up a little bit. So let's go ahead and get rid of our legend. I don't want grid lines. I feel like grid lines just add a lot of clutter to charts. So let's go ahead and get rid of grid lines. We want to give our chart a title. So let's go ahead and give it. So one way you can do it is click here and type it up in here. So first trimester sales trends. And then we can format it how we want. Maybe we want to maybe we want to format it in dark green, bold, increase the font size to 20. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, I don't really care much about these. Let's go ahead and hide all field buttons. Let's go ahead and increase the font size a little bit, make it black. We can increase the font size of that too, make it a little bigger, make it easier for people to read. All right, so now we have our second chart. So obviously this is much easier to read. So general upward trend in sales, which is what you would want if you're owning a business. This is what you would want to see. You wouldn't want to see going downward. Hey there, ultimate moralizer. Oh yes, ultimate moralizer. Hey there, Ace. Hatchaman guitar. All right, cool. I've got 5 people on here. Yes, this is looking a little bit more lively. All right, guys. Okay. So now, once again, I'm going to create a slicer here. So I'm going to click on my chart, pivot table, analyze, insert slicer, and I want to have my salespeople here. Click OK. I'm going to come over here. And so now, this is our overall sales trend. This is including everyone. but maybe we want to look at each particular sales person's trend. So here, Ava Martinez, not bad. Looks like from February to March, had a pretty steep incline in sales. How about Emma? Emma was pretty steady the entire way through. How about Ethan? Oh, look at that. Ethan was pretty flat, but then a steep incline and then leveling off. And then James, steep, and then kind of a gradual incline. And so maybe this could be useful so to figure out, okay, what did this person do? So like, let's come back to Emma. Let's do Ethan. So maybe management may be trying to figure out, okay, what did the salesperson do to where they had this steep incline and then they leveled off? So this is why observing trends can be really useful, because maybe they might look at the types of customers they were selling to. And so maybe the management might be like, okay, you did well with these particular types of customers. We're going to refer you to these types of customers. I mean, that's just one scenario. I mean, but this is why looking at trends can kind of help yield insights and kind of give you some clues as to what might be contributing to success or failure. And then Olivia, and then William Brown. Ooh, so it looks like, yeah, so pretty much the one that stuck out the most was this one. Okay, once again, I can add in another slicer. So I can add another slicer if I want. Insert slicer. Let's go ahead and do gender. And once again, I'm just going to put that over here. Let's go ahead and clear our filter here. And so now, basically, what I'm going to do here is, this is including everyone, but maybe you want to see how are our female salespeople doing. Okay, so not bad, but let's see, how about our male? So you can see there's slight differences, and with real world data, nah, I mean, you're probably going to see, the same kinds of differences. But that's what's cool about adding slicers, is you can get really granular with your observations with data. So I don't think there's really much I can do from here on out as far as like getting any more granular. I mean, I can't really think of any other slicer to add. I mean, is there really any? I mean, there's so age. I mean, that's going to be kind of, yeah, that's just. So if I go ahead and remove that, yeah, see, actually, well, ideally you'd want to, if you have like, say, if you own like a huge company with like several hundred salespeople, then this is where you would create age brackets. But because I only got a few different ages in here, yeah, but each of these actually represents a salesperson, so that's kind of, yeah, I'm not going to worry about that. But that would be something that you could do if you had like a data set where you had like several hundred rows of data, but maybe there were only like, say, like 30 different salespeople. But then in that case, you might create age brackets. But that's where you would do that back when you're organizing your data. But let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, so, all right. Yeah, it's interesting, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just figured, I know typically things are done in a quarterly manner, but I figured for this demonstration, I decided to do trimester, but because I had January, February, March, and April. But yeah, I know typically things are done on a quarterly basis. Yeah, I know. Okay, so, but that's only because I had the month of April included. Okay. Yeah, so, but see, that's the thing about, I mean, regardless, it's just fun to practice with this. Okay, so now this is, so this for me is actually what I would consider the funnest part of data analysis, is actually creating the dashboard. So now we have our charts, and so I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go ahead and name this dashboard. Okay, so now this is what we can do now, is we can actually, so when we have our dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and select everything, merge and center. So I'm going to go ahead and merge and center, so that way we get rid of all our background cells here. And of course, I could probably add in, let's see, so I go back to my pivot table. If I go back to my, So what I can do here is I can go back to my pivot table 1. So what I can do is I can create another pivot table. So yeah, so if I go to my pivot table 2, yeah, so what I could do here is this is just kind of a bonus, guys, because I did pretty much the gist of what I was aiming to do in this live stream was creating pivot tables and charts, but I'm kind of just doing a little bonus just because I feel like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and insert, let's see, illustration shapes. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, cool. And you'll notice up here there's a little yellow circle here. Actually, what that does is you can sharpen, or you can either sharpen it or round your edges. I'm gonna sharpen my edges a little bit, and now I can go ahead and type in here. Let's see, January sales, and then I can go ahead and fix. Let's see, I want to fix that. Let's see, so fix that. So let's see. So I want that to be. Let's go ahead and. Okay. And January sales were what were our January sale pivot table? 62500. Okay, so I get 62500. Okay, so January sales. So I can probably make that a little bigger since I've only got, so let's see. Two. Maybe. There we go. All right, come over here. Let's see. I want to change. Let's see. So then why not? I can do. Let's see. See, this is the thing. This is what I like about creating dashboards. Is it kind of brings out the artistic side of you. I mean, there's different way. I mean, there's just so many different ways this can go. But let's see. I want to change. Let's see. If I change the background, I want to change the background to. There we go. I like the background of green. So let's go ahead and put. I'm going to make this a little bigger because I'm only going to add 3 metrics here. So let's go ahead and make this a little bigger. Let's see. I can make it probably at 30, at 36. There we go. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move that up there. So that's our January sales. Insert illustration shapes. Once again, I'm going to. I want to Control Z. I want to insert the same one I inserted for illustrations, shapes, and I want to hit that one. No, that's not what what am I doing? Okay. Control Z. Insert. Yeah, now I'm trying to. There, that's the one I want. Okay. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Cool. All right. Move that. Sharpen my edges a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and type in February sales, and then what were my February sales? What were my February sales? 709. Okay, 709. All right, cool. And then now I'm going to format this. So I want it to be centered. And I always like to be consistent. So I want to see what my font size for that. That was 36. I always like to be consistent. Consistency is always a good thing. Okay, consistent. Of course, we want to have this. We want to have the same color here. So let's see, fill. There we go. Yeah, it's always good. I always like to be try to be as consistent as possible. There we go. All right. So now is it matte? Is it matte? Does it match your size? Okay, come over here. All right. let's come. I want to come all the way up here. Ah, come all the way up to there. See, this is. I don't want. We gotta bring that down. See, I got my edges a little too rounded. There you go. There you go. Put that up there. All right, cool. All right. All right, cool. Okay. So I got February sales. Two more. Two more. I gotta do two more. Okay, two more. So let's see. Insert illustrations, shapes. Let's go ahead and do once again. And then let's just go ahead and add another one in here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and make this bigger, expand it. And this is gonna be our March. What's our March sales? March is 997. 997. 997. Okay, so come over here. Let's see. Oh yeah, 30, 36 font size. Green. I want the background to be. And let's see. Come over here. Let's see. Move this over there. Yeah, so I'm making sure that everything. All right, come over here. All right, cool. And then one last one. Oh yes, one final one. Okay. And what were my April sales? Yeah, clone them. Yeah, that's something I'll have to clone. Yeah, I'll have to figure out clone them. Ooh, that's 1147. 114. Okay, so come up. Okay, so I'm gonna get April sales. One. Okay, so okay, but this is my last. This is my last one here. All right, my last one. Come on, that's. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure there's a cloning technique, but I kind of want to finish up this live stream pretty quick, and so I'm sure. All right, so there we go. So I got that. Now I've got my monthly sales, so I can go ahead and see. I could. Do I want to do anything? Do I actually want to change the color? Do I want to change the color of the? Do I want to? Let's see. What do I want to do? Do I want to do anything? Do I actually want to change the back? Let's see. Ooh, I kind of. Nah, that's too. Yeah, but then I have to do. Looks. I actually kind of like. I actually kind of like that. Yeah, let's try that. But let's get rid of these grid lines. Too many grid lines. Oh yeah, I don't like. I'm not a big fan of grid lines. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit copy. Let's go ahead. Yeah, copy paste. Can't get rid of that. So first thing I want to do is I'm gonna come back. So yeah, this isn't. I'm just gonna come to my sales trend. Okay. But I gotta put my. I gotta come back over here and put my. I gotta have my. I want to have my. Let's see. I want to have my. Let's see. See what I could do is. Let's see. How can I do this? So. yeah, so I'm gonna have paste, move that over here. Yeah, let's see. Okay, let's see. What am I? Yeah, monthly. And then I need the gender copy paste. Yeah, let's see. I could come down. I don't want to come down. Yeah, this is. Yeah, kept. Let's see. Let's see. How can I make this? Let's see. Okay, I don't need me. Actually, there was. That's what I was looking for. Columns, because I've only. I clear my. Yeah, let's see what. Let's see what do I want to do here. Uh, yeah. See, this is where I mean, dashboarding is like the funnest part, but it can also be pretty challenging. It can also be pretty challenging to figure out how you want to make this work. Okay, so I think okay, the first thing I want to do. Okay, so I'm gonna put these off to the side. I'm gonna put these off to the side for now because I know that goes with the monthly sales. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna copy my sales trend or my semester trend. But like once again, I'm gonna move these over here. Let's see, what one do I want? I want to be consistent. Let's go ahead and use this one. Once again, get rid of those dang grid lines. Okay. Copy and paste. And there's a reason why. So I want to make sure that this Control Z. I don't want to do that. So I want to see that this is the same. At least make it the same length for now. Okay, so they're the same length. I'm just trying to see. Maybe I could come. I could come down that. Let's see. Dude. Yeah, because if I put over here. This is actually good practice because I see. All right. All right, cool. And over here. I mean, this is not going to be, you know, 100% perfect, but if it, yeah, you can set. Yeah, so yeah, you can use height and width to set the tables to be. Yeah, I think I might look into that. But like I mentioned, uh, that's something I will do. But yeah, there's a little unevenness there. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, about the width because that should be there. like I mean, this is not going to be 100%. This is not going to be 100% perfect. Okay, so now I've got to come back to my monthly sales trends and okay, so copy that, copy, paste, come over here. Yeah, you can. So yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is cloning and and height and width to set tables to be. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna look at a tutorial video on how to do that. But like I mentioned, I want to try not to use any outside resources for help doing this. I want to see what I can do, how much I know, like completely on my own, and then because I'm sure, yeah, like this will be a lot more smoother. So I got to hit my slicer columns. Let's make that into 3 columns. I'll probably make that into. That's nah. Let's do it 3 columns. Yeah, because there's. And then paste it 3 times for your headers. Yeah. Okay, so one last thing to do here, and I am calling it good for the at least for this one. Yeah. So. All right. So yeah, not exactly. I mean, it's. I mean, it is what it is. But hey, I mean, how long did that take me to do? I don't know. Hour and let's see. I'm curious. How long did that take me to do? Let's see. It's not showing here how long I've been on the chat here. But yeah, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna look at cloning, copy, cloning. So what is it? Clone, aka copy paste, make one shape. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into that cloning. Let's see. Oh, what else? Oh, and before I go, so here it is, guys. This is so I came all the way from working with this. So I used this data here, created a workbook, a backup copy, worked within the workbook. So if I made any mistakes in here, I have my original data set to fall back onto, and once again I would create another copy. Then I had my first pivot table, created a chart from that pivot table. My second pivot table, created a chart from that. Then of course I have my charts, sales trends, and then of course the dashboard. All right, so with that, I figured I did this in my earlier last year, but I figured this is my first actual dashboard using Tableau. Okay, this thing will load. So this is so I'm part of this data science community that they put on weekly challenges. They have like SQL weekly challenges, Python weekly challenges, data viz challenges, and data analysis challenges. And this is from their week 16 data analysis challenge. And they pretty much provided a link to the data set. So I was looking at COVID data. And once again, this is my first time creating a full-on dashboard using Tableau. I'm definitely going to redo it once again, probably using similar formatting tools to make it more succinct, more cohesive, and I'm kind of losing my terminology here, but yeah. So really what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to like actually make it so like I can actually look at say like what were like the number of deaths for like high income countries versus like low income countries, lower middle. But I only included that for like these two charts down here. But what I want to try to do is actually make this into a single uh, chart, but yet be able to display it as like my key metrics, and then like have like a something here where I can be like, okay, only high, only show like high income countries and so forth. Sebastian, oh yeah, teaching, Whew. Teaching. Yeah, I mean I've thought of it, but teaching. The thing with teaching now, it would be kind of fun to do, but being a teaching, it kind of adds a whole new dynamic to it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it would be pretty cool to be able to teach this stuff, but I don't know. I always feel like teaching would be harder than trying to explain like how you would do something like during an interview. Because maybe like during an interview, they may like ask you like, okay, like how would you use Tableau to represent sales trends? I don't know. That could be a question. Whereas teaching, if anything, I almost feel like teaching it would help you with an interview. I don't know. I could be wrong, but maybe not. But so just a kind of a quick rundown here is I was provided with some data. They gave us a link to the data, and so on the original data set, there are like 231 country, territories, states, whatever you want to call it. But two of them were ships. So obviously, a ship is not a country. So I took those out. Then there were some columns that had excessive zero values or blanks. So I deleted those columns. And so that's why I was left with 223. Uh, Total deaths worldwide, 6 million. But more importantly, what I was wanting to look at was the case fatality rate, 0.68%, total cases, total number of recoveries, and then of course the current active cases. Then of course, which countries had the most deaths, the top 20. Once again, looking at the top 20 countries in terms of like overall recovery, and then the current active cases. Which countries have the most active cases? Now, I'm not exactly sure when they took this data, but I do kind of find this interesting. Japan, 10 million active cases. So my guess is either this was a typo whenever whoever entered this into the data was either a typo or maybe they did have a surge, but I don't know. But I did mention that when I posted this on my LinkedIn. I did point out that I did kind of find this pretty odd, so I've said potentially a typo. And then down here, uh, distribution of deaths worldwide. So of course the United States had a large number of deaths, followed by Brazil and then India. But when you look at CFR, the case fatality rate, that tells a whole different story. Yeah, we may have had the most deaths, but looking at case fatality rate, it's at 1.09%. Whereas if you look here at Sudan, 7.85% case fatality rate, and look at Yemen, 18%. So I think that's a kind of a better metric to look at. I mean, yes, number of deaths is significant, but when you look into case fatality rate, that kind of tells a different story. Now, another thing to probably look at would be number of recoveries. What's the percentage of recoveries from the number of cases? But yeah, but I figure this is pretty adequate for this dashboard. Oh, Sebastian, off topic, sorry, but remember when I was playing the ukulele on Valentine's Day? I can't recall. Valentine's Day? No, sorry, I don't recall that very much. But yeah, I think that's going to call it good, guys. I think for once I finally stayed, for the most part, on topic. Yeah, I know I kind of branched off, but I figured I wanted to kind of showcase my Tableau dashboard because that is going to be going into my portfolio. I'm going to clean it up quite a bit before I do post it on my portfolio, but it will be going on my portfolio, demonstrating the use of both Excel and Tableau. And let's see what else. I do have my first portfolio project posted. which is a data set using housing data from Redfin. So yes, I've got portfolio project number one. The one I just showed you is going to be my second project. And yeah, and I wrote it in one of your videos. Yeah, I'll have to. Yes, I wrote it in one of your video. Yeah, so yeah, Sebastian, you'll have to get back to me on that one. But yeah, I think that's gonna call it good, guys. Uh, but yeah, I wanted to make sure I stayed on topic for for the most part. Stick pretty much stuck with Excel. Uh, Kind of a rundown from going from getting the data to all the way to creating a dashboard. So I want to thank you all for joining in. Uh, and thank you guys. Have a happy Easter, wherever you may be at. So happy Easter. Thank you for tuning in to this live stream. I know it didn't seem to wager too many viewers, but hey, I mean, that's why I do a variety of content. I can't please everyone at the same time, but I think the next time I go live, I might do a gaming session, another gaming session, but we'll see how I feel. I might do a blogging session. I might do a Q&A. Just kind of depends on what I feel like doing. But yeah, I do try to mix up my content. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I was going to upload a standalone video on this, but I figured this is going to suffice. I don't want to make a live streaming doing this and then upload a video doing the same thing. That would be kind of mundane. So hopefully this will be adequate enough. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Happy Easter. Much love to all of you out there and your continued support in my channel. And much appreciation, gratitude. So thanks to all. Take care, everyone. Peace out.